Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel.
So taking GST, I wrote down heat, cell phones, internet, food.
Children's needs.
Children's needs. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
maybe can you tell us a little bit more about how that's going to work?
Yes.
How will Canadians avail themselves of that? How's it going to work?
Yeah, absolutely. So we already made a decision in a lot of areas that are essentials that we don't apply GST. So right now, when you buy groceries, there's not GST applied to that. So that happens right at the till. And so we want to expand that to acknowledge that Canadians are going through a tough time.
Yep.
And our daily essentials shouldn't be where government is nickel and diming people. And so we think about the things that you need. When you go to a grocery store and you buy some bread and sandwich meats, that's going to be no tax, no GST. But if you went to the deli at the same grocery store and grabbed a quick snack, a healthy snack there, that would have tax. We want to take it off of that.
Okay.
When we look at some of the essentials, we all need access to the internet. So cell phone and internet now is a crucial, vital thing that we need in our lives. We want to take the GST off of that as well. When we look at some of the needs for kids, when we're buying children's clothing or diapers, they still have GST applied to those. We'd remove it from those as well. So this could happen at the point of sale, and it would be removed immediately. No application, no rebate, just a direct removal, acknowledging that these things are essentials. Let's give people a break right now.
Okay. How does that sound? I suspect we might circle back to a little bit of what you've just shared, but let's talk about the supply and confidence agreement.
Sure.
You got a lot done. You had tremendous influence. You and I both talked a little bit about what you got done, but you had less than a year to go. Why pull the plug, and why do you think what's the leverage you have now?
When I think about what this meant, like when I think about why we did it, I think about some of the people that I met. And one of them in particular, I think about a woman I met in Ottawa. She was a senior on a fixed income, and I met her at Dr. Lee's dentist office. And she said to me, her name was Susan, but she insisted I call her Sue. And she said that I just beat cancer. I'm a cancer survivor. And one of the risks that I knew was that it might impact my teeth. And so she lost almost all her teeth. And she had some of her roots were exposed. She was in rough shape. And she said she had a picture with her of her smile. She had this beautiful smile. And she said, I just want to get my smile back. And I got the dental card in the mail. And I thought of it as my gold card. And I was really, I held it close, but I was nervous that when I went to use it, it wouldn't work. You know that feeling where you have something great and you're like, if I go to try to use it and it doesn't work, my hope is gone. Mm-hmm. So she really hesitated. And she finally worked up the courage and said, I'm going to try to see if this actually works. So I was at the dentist office with her for her first visit. And she asked if she could get her smile back. And the dentist and the denturist in that office looked at her and said, we're going to get you your smile back. And she broke down in tears of joy. That's who we did it for. We did it for Sue. Yeah. Yeah. But then we also realized that Sue was saying, like, I can't afford also my groceries. I'm also worried about getting kicked out of my home. I'm also worried about just the cost of living in general. And when we kept on putting pressure on the Liberals, on Justin Trudeau, we were convinced that one of the major ways to reduce the cost of living is to go after the corporate greed that is driving up the cost of living. And it became clear in multiple examples that the Liberals just didn't have the courage to take on the driving force behind a lot of these increases. Like, we know that corporate grocery stores are making record profits, and we've got to go after them to stop them from ripping off people. We know that when it comes to housing, more and more corporate landlords are scooping up affordable homes and jacking up rent. We have to go after that. And they just didn't have the courage to do that. So it became very clear we couldn't stay in agreement with folks that fundamentally disagreed with how we can make life better for people. So now we're in a minority government, as was before, and we've done that in the minority government during the pandemic. So we're going to go vote to vote. And we were able to secure wins for Canadians, so we're going to try to do that. But ultimately, it became very clear that the government wasn't prepared to do what was necessary to take on the real challenges of the day. And that's why we made our announcement today. People need some immediate relief. I remember what that's like when you're barely treading water above, your head's above water, and you just need a little relief. So giving Canadians that immediate relief of taking that GST off of those daily essentials will provide that immediate relief to give some people that breathing room so they can keep their head above water.
You have already touched on a key policy area in terms of affordability. Talk to us about other policy areas that you're focused on in the short term and into an election cycle.
One of the proposals we put forward around affordability of grocery prices was putting in a price cap. Now, a lot of folks were worried about a price cap as a strategy. Some economists have questioned whether this would be legitimate. But we really leaned on the work of Isabel Weber, who first proposed this idea of a price cap and was challenged, was attacked for coming up with this idea. Mm-hmm. And then subsequently, one of the critics was a Nobel laureate from the United States who said this is a bad idea. A year later, she presented the evidence that a lot of the driving force behind the high cost is the fact that big corporations are just increasing their prices. So we need to impose measures to bring down prices. And that Nobel laureate who first critiqued Ms. Weber has come back and apologized and said, in fact, her ideas are sound. And so we absolutely agree with Ms. Weber that we need to put in place some price caps. We propose doing that in grocery stores. Okay. For our essentials, for our daily essentials at the grocery store. We need price caps on those essential items. This is something that France has done to effect, and they've brought down prices significantly with this policy. So that's an idea that we'd want to bring into Canada. On the housing side of things, I talked about a couple of the policies, banning large corporate investors from buying up affordable homes. Yep. We propose measures like having an acquisition fund, a fund that allows not-for-profit groups, community groups, even potential cooperatives to buy the buildings they live in to keep them affordable instead of allowing a big corporate landowner to buy it, renovate the tenants, and jack up the rents. So these are some of the policies that we're proposing. Real bold ways to take on the actual reasons why costs are going up so much.
Okay. You touched on it in your remarks, the productivity issue. The U.S. election is now decided. Trump's talking about tariffs at 10 to 20%. Canada has, to this point, not been excluded. Elon Musk muses about whether Canada is dying. And Carolyn Rogers, Senior Deputy Governor of the Bank of Canada, has named our productivity issues an emergency. So tell us about your growth agenda for this country. What is going to drive our productivity? What's going to drive jobs? What's going to put us back to where we belong?
Well, I outlined some of those areas. I feel like first we have to acknowledge that the past approach to economic growth was a very simplistic measure. People might talk it up, but it's really a simplistic measure and often a conservative approach, which is to cut taxes. Yep. That seems to be the panacea for any sort of economic woe, cut taxes on large corporations, and that's going to, the idea was, spur economic activity because those companies will use the excess profits to reinvest into new factories or better training or better technology. This has been categorically proven false. We know this is not true. When you cut taxes for big corporations, and we've seen them make big profits, they use those profits to pay out their shareholders, to increase dividends, to put more money into CEO bonuses. They do not reinvest. So we cannot rely on that as an economic model to increase productivity. It doesn't work. The proof is in front of us. So we're proposing, let's address some of the crises that are actually creating the productivity challenges. And I meant it when I said I've spoken with many chambers of commerce across the country, and small businesses, medium-sized businesses tell us their biggest barrier to recruiting new employees into their businesses to create the growth that they need is that they cannot find housing for the people that want to come to work in their companies. And that's a barrier that I hear again and again. So addressing the housing crisis is a productivity measure. It's going to improve productivity by giving places for people to live so they can work in those settings where there are opportunities to work. The care economy is an incredible opportunity for productivity. There are folks that we rely on heavily to provide care for our kids, for our seniors, for our elders, for our parents, for our neighbors. And the care economy is one that's been neglected. These are folks that are doing incredible work but don't get the compensation that they deserve for that work. And so we need to make sure that they're being supported. And I've talked about how we can increase wages and work with provinces to encourage and incentivize and demand proper wages for these important jobs that people are doing. These are some of the ways I look at the challenges that we're up against. Let's address the climate to create the environment for a better productivity by addressing the crises that Canadians are living with. The cost of living challenges that people are faced with mean that people are constantly in worry that they're falling behind. Yep. The more we can bring down the costs, it's going to allow for people to be more productive as well. So all our measures are about putting the emphasis on people instead of the past and clearly disproven tactic of giving all the advantages to those who already have all the advantages.
I want to bring some of the audience questions in here. So let me share one here. You've emphasized that better jobs are a catalyst for a stronger economy and community. How do you envision the federal government supporting small and medium-sized businesses to create more jobs, especially in industries hit hardest by the pandemic?
Well, I think we do need to really focus in on how we can build more of what we need here in Canada. Really having that approach of strengthening and supporting local manufacturing for the things that we need. And so some of that could be looking at procurement rules so that we are procuring our essentials from Canadian companies, incentivizing manufacturing in Canada. We also need to look at the way we approach those jobs in terms of supports needed. I think we need to make sure we are creating the conditions for those workers to get paid better. We know that with the challenges of the states right now, more than ever, we're going to have to focus on fighting to protect Canadian jobs and Canadian interests. And so we have to be prepared for that fight. We have to prepare that fight in advance. The talks of the tariffs, we need to prepare the legal cases to challenge those in court. Many of these tariffs being proposed would be illegal under existing trade agreements. Let's not wait for those tariffs to start hurting our workers. Let's preemptively prepare our legal case to fight them in court to protect our jobs in Canada.
Okay. I want to touch on double click on what you just talked about, because many Canadian companies, large and small, would say it is harder and harder to do business in this country because taxes are going up. Interprovincial trade barriers are a real issue. So how are you going to incent Canadian companies to do the things that you've just talked about?
Right. So we also need to acknowledge, I should have said this in the first question, part of the question, that small and medium-sized businesses are very different from large businesses. And often you'll see new Democrat governments, when they're in power provincially, make that distinction very clear. We treat a large corporation, we should be treating a large corporation very differently from smaller startups and small and medium-sized. So we are going to propose in our plan, this is a little preview, to lighten the burden for small and medium-sized businesses. While we're proposing an excess profit tax on large, massive corporations, we want to lighten the burden, so lower, I'm going to say directly, less taxes for small and medium-sized enterprises to support them in their growth.
Okay. We're going to weave in and out of U.S. politics here, as you might expect. In the aftermath of the recent U.S. election, it looks more and more like Canadians will follow the U.S. into a more conservative political landscape. Do you think this rejection of left-leaning policies and sentiments in the U.S. will be replicated in Canada? And if this is even marginally true, how will this affect the future of your party?
Well, I would attack, not personally, but I would attack the premise of that question.
That person will be left unnamed.
But attack the premise of the question. I think what happened in the States was not a rejection of left-wing. It was folks that were having a harder time. Life got harder for them. They are looking at their paychecks and looking at what they can afford, and things got worse. And they're saying, I reject whoever let this happen. It was a rejection of their condition of life getting worse. And you hear some of the exit poll discussions with people. People thought and still believe that Trump's going to make their life more affordable. Mm-hmm. They believe that he would lower the cost of living. And that's what Canadians need right now as well. They want someone that's going to lower the cost of living. So we have to make it clear that we are going to lower the cost of living with what we propose today to immediately give people some relief. But we also have to make it clear what the cost of someone like the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre is. Their cost is they're going to cut the things that people need. It's going to make life even more expensive. If you don't have daycare, and right now barely people are able to afford daycare, some people are lucky enough to have the $10 a day daycare. If that's cut for those thousands and thousands of families, that is devastating. That's going to hurt them. If they cut things like the dental care program for seniors and kids, that's going to hurt people. So we have to make the case that the Conservatives are going to cost you. They're not going to make life more affordable. And what they're going to do is what Conservatives always do. They're going to make it more affordable for their rich buddies. They're going to give them lots of benefits, but they're going to hurt everyday folks. And I have to make the case that New Democrats are committed to putting people first. We're going to make your life more affordable. We're going to bring down the cost of your groceries, make your rents more affordable. That's what people need. And I think what happened in the States was after 4 years of the current government or the government in the States, they walked out of that 4 years and feel like they're worse off. I have to ensure that people know that we're going to make their lives better.
Very hard to disagree with what you just said, so I won't. But you're in a tricky spot because your political opponent in the form of Pierre Poilievre doesn't seem to be a friend to big business either. He's sort of trying to thread a needle that I think he's pro-worker, he's not pro-business. So where does that put you in terms of finding the space to communicate that to Canadians?
I got to be blunt and tell people that he's lying to them, right? Like he's lying. The reality is, and he's doing a good job of it, though. Like, I'm not going to deny that. He's doing a great job of lying. And so I got to make the case that, look at who he really is and look at what he's done throughout his career. He's someone that's been a politician since his early 20s. Mm-hmm. And every step of the way, the decisions he's made have attacked working people. And so we have to show people what he's really about and who he's really in it for. This is a big uphill battle. I'm not going to say in any way suggest that this is easy. We're up against lots of money. We're up against a big kind of almost feels like an insurmountable challenge. But I've been told that my whole life. I've been told that I would never win as a New Democrat in the entire Peel region, which had never voted for an NDP at any level of government. And we made that happen. I was told I couldn't become a leader of a national party. We made that happen. So now we're up against a big challenge. I'm not in any way diminishing that challenge. But our challenge is to show people what they already feel about Conservatives, that they cut, and those cuts hurt. And I have to show them that we also are going to acknowledge that they're struggling right now. We're not going to ignore their pain, not ignore their anger, and say, you're right to be angry. Government has let you down. I'm not going to let you down.
Let's fan out for a second. So in your view, where does Canada stand in the world today? And share with us your foreign policy agenda.
Where we stand in the world in terms of our foreign policy,
yeah.
I would say we've let a lot of people down. I think a lot of people feel sad. They feel a little defeated. Canada had this respect at the global stage as being a fierce defender for human rights. And that has been eroded over the years. And I feel like people look to our foreign policy and see that we're not taking the stance necessary to stop a genocide from happening in Gaza and feel really hurt by that. I think people see us not taking a strong role in pushing for peace and diplomacy as solutions to the crises we're up against on a global stage. They see that we're not doing our part to invest in development internationally and supporting countries that need that support as well. So I think we've let down a lot of people, but I don't think we're stuck there. I think we can turn those things around. I think we have taken really strong positions to say people in the Middle East, people in Israel and in Palestine and in Gaza deserve to live with peace, dignity, and respect. And we're going to continue to be that voice pushing for a better future.
I want to nod to the students that we have in the room today. So for the young people that are here, what do you say to them to give them hope that they'll be able to enjoy a standard of living that is equal to or perhaps even greater than that of their parents?
First, I think you got to acknowledge the problem. Like right now for young folks, I know you're looking at a future that looks more bleak than your parents. And that is a failure. That is not something that happened by chance. That's not just inevitability. Those are decisions made. Decisions that prioritize rich developers and rich investors making money off of the housing market rather than making a housing market that ensured that you had a home. That was a decision. That was not, again, by chance or by accident. That was because of policies. If decisions that were made got us into this mess, decisions that we make can get us out of this. And so I want you to know I'm going to make decisions that say our housing market should be for people, not for someone to make a quick buck. I want you to be able to have a home that you can afford. I want you to be able to live a good life. I want that for my kids as well. So I've got a vested interest in all this. I got two beautiful girls that are growing up, and I want to make sure they have a bright future too. So know that what we're up against is a product of decisions that were made. I'm going to make better decisions to give you a better future.
I'm told that we only have a few minutes left. So in those remaining minutes, I want to do a lightning round with you.
Okay, let's do it.
So please give one word or very brief answers. Okay. How many hours of sleep do you get a night?
Ooh, not very many. I'm high energy and I sleep very little. Folks will attest to this. I think James, who's my EA, will let me know. We'll be like, I don't understand how this even functions. But yes, I sleep very little. Maybe like less than 6. But I don't brag. I mean, I'm bragging about it. It's bad for your health. You should sleep more. It is not necessary. I just like do that thing. You know that thing I'm giving you. It's not like
that's super long.
But you know that thing where like when you don't get enough time for yourself during the day, and then at night you want to make up for it. So I try to read, cook food, go to the gym, do 12 other things at night where I can squeeze those centers. That's why I don't sleep enough.
Favorite living Canadian politician you cannot name yourself?
Wab Kinew. Let's go.
Okay, Wab Kinew. All right. Oh, Wab Kinew.
Wab Kinew.
Yes.
Yeah. Wab Kinew is First Nations. Well, I guess Métis is first. So, Métis is Indigenous.
Yes.
First Nations, Premier of Manitoba, doing incredible work right off the top. Someone that I think has inspired a lot of people. So yeah, Wab Kinew.
Live in the official residence in Ottawa, yes or no?
In the official residence in Ottawa. Well, one is condemned. So it's like a trick question.
Oh, okay.
So the Sussex one is condemned. So no, probably wouldn't live there. But in the other ones, like if I'm so honored by the people, I'll live there.
Nickname given to you by your parents?
Oh, I don't have a nickname really. No, they call me Jagmeet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Easy. If you could take a present day world leader out for lunch, who would it be?
A present day world leader?
Yeah.
Oh, take him out for lunch. Shoot. Like, people are going to judge my answer so much, right? I don't know, for some reason, we were supposed to go to, this is not a long, this is a short answer, or this is a long answer. So we were supposed to go to Brazil for our honeymoon. We didn't get to go.
Okay.
There is a very progressive president in Brazil. I hope people still think he's progressive. Yes. So that would be cool because we were supposed to go there. We didn't go. Maybe get to visit Brazil and take out this great progressive leader who I'm avoiding their name because I feel like someone's going to yell at Lula? Yeah. There you go.
How long does it take you to get ready in the morning?
I'm very fast. I'm like lightning speed. Well, this is a bit of a point of contention. I think I'm very, very fast. James will say sometimes I'm not as fast as I think I am.
Okay.
But I think roughly on average very fast.
Okay.
Like I get ready maybe 20 minutes. I'm out the door. Unless I forget things where they are. And then who knows?
There's kind of an over-under on
that. Then it's like all bets are off at that point.
Fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is.
Great. Love it. Let's go.
And then one last question. What do you cherish most about being Canadian?
I cherish most. This is not a one word, I don't think.
Okay. No, the other one's clearly.
One word, clearly. I fail on the one word answers. I love most about being Canadian. I think that there's this beautiful dream that was there for a lot of people, and people were able to achieve this dream. So there's a beautiful dream, like the promise of Canada. And I think that in a lot of ways that dream is feeling like fleeting and fading, but I really believe that dream can be reawoken. Like that dream is still something that we can cling on to. And that dream is like a place where we can all be who we want to be. We're celebrated for who we are. We can live our best lives. We can take care of each other, look out for one another. Like that dream where we right the wrongs of the past, like that dream is still there, and it's what I want to achieve.
Amazing. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much. That was a great question. That was awesome.
Mr. Singh, Jagmeet, on behalf of the Canadian Club of Toronto, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your vision. Thank you for indulging me in the lightning round. Your dedication to creating a fairer country is very clear. It's very passionate, and your words give hope to a future where all Canadians can thrive and where this country can grow, so thank you. We are grateful for your commitment to addressing the challenges that our nation faces, because we do have them, and for advocating on behalf of every community, and in my view, your mother taught you well. As our event closes, I want to invite members and guests to join us next Friday, November 22nd, when the Honourable Carolyn Mulrooney will join us at the podium to discuss the latest developments at the Treasury Board of Ontario. And on December 4th at breakfast, we will hear from the CEO of Emera, Scott Balfour, and please visit canadianclub.org for more information. As always, a big thank you to VBC Live, our club's AV supplier, for supporting today's event. And to everyone here and online, thank you so much. Enjoy your afternoon, and we hope to see you soon.
Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel.